Hello, this is Angel Soriano, and today in this segment of Daily Dog Man, I want to take the mystery out of dog training equipment. Thank you for tuning in to this segment today. Remember to subscribe to this channel and hit the little bell to receive notifications when we have new releases. Also, give us a thumbs up or a comment if you like, and let us know how else we can help. Okay, that little bit of information helps us in creating new material in the future. So this topic of training equipment is interesting because it brings some people to grinding their teeth. It's just the thought of putting equipment around the dog's neck. Some other people over-equip their dogs. So there's no happy medium here in any of this, okay? Maybe a harness to some people, right? Otherwise, totally free. That's not right either. So got to think about it. That's the reason for putting this together. The other point is that as a result of present overall societal changes, the number of people that believe this is growing. And there's absolutely no evidence to support their claim. Look, a leash and a collar should be looked at as minimum equipment to use for your dog. Okay? It allows you to get close enough to your dog to deliver the proper praise when they need it most. Okay? Don't miss an opportunity to praise your dog when they're doing it correctly. Besides, it's just a question of safety, right? So the real question should be as to what equipment you use, not should you be using some sort of equipment, okay? And there's thousands of different pieces of equipment out on the market. And the reason for that is because it's a $62 billion industry. So everybody's making a piece of equipment. Most of it is crap, okay? So don't get fooled by this because it'll help all your problems. There's no such thing out in the market, okay? The equipment you should use should always be mandated by your dog. By the way, any one trainer that tells you that this one particular training equipment is what you need to use and it works on every dog should be questioned, okay? Do not believe this. So let's take the mystery out of equipment once and for all. These are some of the most popular in the market. I have them here on this table, and I will go through them one by one. Like them or not, this is what most of the people are using out there, and you just need to understand how to use them and what it's all about. So let us start with something called a harness, okay? Harness looks like this. This one happens to be just a very sturdy harness. The dog's chest goes here, the head sticks out through there, and you hook up your leash to this point here. Now, interesting enough, we like harnesses for our search dogs and, search and rescue or drug dogs. And the reason is that it promotes pulling and it promotes freedom. Okay, that's the reason for us using this stuff. So if you're wanting one of these to promote your dog to promote them to pull more, then this is what you need to do. If you don't want them to pull, there's plenty of other pieces of equipment out there you should consider. But this is primarily the use that we put to it. Anyway, that is a harness. By the way, there's hundreds of harnesses just like that one, different colors and brands, etc. Just look for whatever it is you are looking for or not looking for. Let's move on to something called a Holte. A Holte is a device that goes around the dog's nose, and it works like so. If this is the nose of the dog, it goes like that. This is the neck, and this little device here hooks up to their actual collar, okay? Here's a good picture of one without promoting the name of the company. That is what it looks like. It goes around the nose in that sort of way, and it works really well on dogs that are soft and dogs that have a long snout. Anything that is a short snout or hard, high-driven dog, this type of collar just doesn't work for them very well. But that's the reason for showing it to you is, that's what they look like, okay? Let's move on to a slip collar. Interesting, in the industry, some people call it a choke collar. We like the word slip because we know how to use them, okay? Slip collar, you put it around the dog's neck if he's the type of dog that needs one of these, and you basically provide interruptions in this sort of way, and you see how it releases. It got its ugly name of choke collar because most of the trainers out there were using it incorrectly, and what happened is that you do a correction and it doesn't release, right? That's simply because it's on backwards, okay? You put it on the right way again, and it releases. Voila, interesting. A lot of magic in this. So this is called a slip collar, chain collar, some people call it. And there is another version of one, which is a nylon version. Same thing, it doesn't release as easily, but it is very soft. So if you have a very soft dog that doesn't require a lot of interruption, then this might be just the right type of collar for him, but it'd be best to fit him, okay? Let's move on to something that is not a training piece of equipment, but I like putting it on the table because most people think it is, okay? This is a fur saber. F-U-R, fur saber. It's intended to go around a dog's neck, and you can put your tags on it, and this is a good collar that will not destroy the fur around their neck, okay? That's all that it's intended to do. If you're going to leave your dog out in the backyard for any amount of time, take this off, and the reason is it does have the tendency to get hooked on things, and if you can imagine, this may cause some damage, so do not leave it on. This is true with all the rest of the equipment that I'm going to show, or I have shown so far. Do not leave the dog unattended with any piece of equipment. So again, this is not a training equipment, but I wanted to show it. Let's move on to an infamous pinch collar. A pinch collar works on the premise of pinching, okay? So you can see this is about 1 inch apart, 1.5 inches apart or so. And when it closes, it pinches. If you can picture all of them pinching at the same time, the dog receives a even pinch all the way around the neck, in this case maybe 12 or 14 different pinches. This is typically used by dogs that are really highly motivated, you know, high drive, etc. And are not, you know, the rest of the equipment is not working, so you move on to something like this. Like any other equipment, you need to be cautious and not overuse it, okay? Receive qualified training to make sure that you're not wrongly using this piece of equipment. The other one, and I'm going to put them side by side, is also a pinch collar, but in this case, this one is a plastic one, okay? And it's the same process, same intended use. You can see the little teeth that close. However, it's the bite's a little smaller, it's about 1/2 inch. You can put more links in this and make it just as big as this one is. And they're both intended for, you know, your harder type dog, okay? So that's what this is. That's what the use of it might be. Let's move on to a shock collar, okay? This is an electronic collar, okay? And it's got 2 prongs. This goes around the dog's neck, and these prongs touch their skin, and then you adjust the intensity of this by this control here called the volume knob, and this is how you stimulate the animal. Now, a couple of cautions here is that there are less than 1% of the dog population in the world that needs a collar of this nature, okay? Less than 1%. So if you think your dog is one of them, I'd be willing to bet that he is not, okay? There's probably better equipment or better methods of getting it done. So be cautious of anybody that wants to force your dog to get it on, to put this on them to get the training done, unless you're talking a long distance issue. If the issue is cost or is such that only happens at, you know, 50 yards or 30 yards or 50 feet and you're not there to be able to interrupt, there's still some other methods you could use, that if there's no way to do it, then this might be the tool to do it. Again, as far as issues in dogs, less than 1% of the dog population out there need it. So cautious on anybody that pushes you into this direction unless it's one of those conditions I just mentioned. Okay, let's move on to infamous clicker, pretty famous out there in the industry. And let me tell you what this means. Anytime you click, the dog expects one of these. Okay, click, they get one of those. The intended use is to train the dog, condition them to the sound. It's either a single click, double click, triple click, or a combination of them. Okay, you can actually make combos of it. But the idea is that every time you hear it, the dog expects one of these. Okay, not really high on our training tools, and that's simply because of the fact that it requires treats. And we really believe that the best, you know, reward you can actually give your dog are these. These are called hands. They're wonderful. You touch your dog with them, you caress, you love your dog. They will do everything for you for these hands. Isn't that interesting? So you don't need this, you don't need that, and this is not to pick on any particular brand. It's just the concept. Okay. Next on it is called a British lead. British lead brings a collar into the discussion as well. So it's not only a lead, but it's also a collar. Now, this works best on animals that have already been trained and they don't have a pulling issue. And you can put this on them, and this is kind of a neat tool. I have several of them. I love them, actually. My dogs are usually on them. Last but not least is a leash. This happens to be a 7-foot leash. It's made out of leather. It doesn't have to be that nice. This is a really nice leash, actually. In this case, it's got a connector on one side. It's got a quick release on the other. Most of the ones you're going to find on the market are going to have a loop on one side and a connector on the other. Okay, that's fine. As long as it's about 6 to 7 feet, you're going to be fine with it. So that is really the intent as far as the tools and the tools that we see the most out in the industry. Okay, so there it is, friends. Identify the best equipment for your dog that allows you a good training session. Respect the equipment and the process, and then get to work. It's that simple. Remember that the goal is to train your dog so well that they no longer need any equipment whatsoever, although you're going to use it, in public and all that good stuff. But if you've done everything right, you should be able to get your dog out of equipment. It's not that tough, okay? Call us or any other professional to help you if you're struggling to fit your dog to the right equipment. Don't just jump into any piece of equipment because you think so, or because one person is throwing you into it, unless you really trust them, okay? Another note is that sometimes you may need several collars over the life of your training, for this dog. So understand that you may need a couple of them. And, there's always a market afterwards to be able to sell them to somebody at a discount rate. You can get rid of the stuff after you don't need it anymore. Last in this topic is that your dog should be on a leash while in public. I think I've said it before, no matter how great his training is, okay? No matter how great his obedience is, please don't have him loose in public. Too many things could happen, okay? There you have it, friends. This is Angel Soriano, barking back at you on Daily Dogman. If you like this video, please help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel. We also appreciate your comments if you have them. Remember, there are 3 ways of keeping in touch with us. 1, email us at dogman@myk9u.com. 2, you can sign up to our email list at myk9u.com/askthedogman. And 3, you can obviously subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button. You can find all of this information in the comment section below. Thank you.